Hi, my name is Jared Insel, and this will be my attempt at a TED Talk. The topic I have chosen is teaching digital literacy and digital citizenship. And my inquiry question is, how can we design a comprehensive program to teach digital literacy and citizenship to our students that involves administrators, teachers, and parents? So, to start off, I would like to quote a passage from Marlene Aslin and Ray Doiron's article, Towards a Transformative Pedagogy for School Libraries 2.0, in which they discuss today's young students, which they call the net generation, and their interaction with digital technologies and the new literacies encompassed within them. Although today's students are savvy in many aspects of the new literacies of the internet, research shows that they are not as proficient as popularly thought. When presented with an information problem or question, they first go to the internet, tend to rely exclusively on Google as their search engine, and use natural language as search terms. This pattern indicates their limited understanding of the internet as a collection of resources from different providers and a lack of knowledge of more effective keywords and search strategies. They approach the results with a click and grab strategy by most often selecting the first source on the list with minimal or no review and evaluation of its relevance or quality. Students spend little time reading the source. Instead, skimming and scanning are typically reading processes for both youth and college students. Once within a website, becoming distracted by both internal and external hyperlinks is a greater risk than in print sources of information. Finally, cutting and pasting, rather than rewording and recording, are dominant processes students are taking notes from online information sources. Now, this passage really resonates with me because I've seen this scenario unfold in many classrooms where an inquiry or research-based project involving new literacies and technologies is taking place. Now, in making a connection between my own experiences as a teacher in the classroom and what has been written in academic literature, it is now my understanding that the need to teach students digital literacy and what it means to be a responsible digital citizen is more important than ever before. We now live in a knowledge-based society during what Manuel Castells identifies as an era of informationalism, where many children have access to devices at a very early age. My 4-year-old niece, for example, knows how to watch a YouTube video, but she can't type into the search engine yet, or search engine area yet. She knows how to send iMessages, but her communication on this platform is limited to emojis. She knows how to take a picture with a camera on an iPad or an iPhone, and subsequently can access the camera roll to look at the photos or videos that she took. She also knows how to play a variety of games. She has been interacting with these devices, such as an iPad and an iPhone, since she was 2 years old. Now, these devices are capable of empowering children with what John Spencer calls connective and creative potential. But instead of creating with these devices, many within the net generation are merely consuming by means of watching videos, listening to audio like podcasts, or playing online games. Spencer argues that this is because the students of the net generation hail from a consumer culture rather than a creative culture. Consequently, he concludes that students are not born digital natives, but rather are born consumer natives in a digital world. Taking this into account, and drawing parallels between it and the passage I quoted at the beginning, it would seem that the need for young students to become digitally literate and thusly responsible digital citizens is even more imperative than initially thought. One could argue that learning to be digitally literate is almost as important as learning reading, writing, and arithmetic. Therefore, I believe that education in the areas of digital literacy and digital citizenship are essential for students to truly become digital natives, as opposed to simply digital consumers. And yet often, that's not what I'm seeing happening in classrooms or out in public. When a class of students is undertaking an inquiry or research-based project involving the use of digital technologies, I often see teachers simply handing out devices to their students without showing them how to use it. I've also observed a number of parents giving their child a device to placate them or simply keep them occupied and get them out of their hair. Many parents have admitted this to me and saying that it's easy to fall into this habit but in doing so, there's an inherent risk involved that's often overlooked. It's almost as if there's an assumption or an expectation that a student is already digitally literate and responsible when observations and research would indicate or suggest otherwise. This assumption is not only naive, it's downright negligent. Too often we are seeing unsupervised children and students misusing technology without fully comprehending the consequences of doing so. When the revised BC curriculum was officially published in June 2016, digital literacy skills were relegated to the subject area of applied design skills and technology. Now, not only is this a small part of the curriculum, but is one that many teachers are intimidated by. Consequently, it is sometimes neglected, and as a result, teaching digital literacy and citizenship skills appears to be falling by the wayside and slipping through the cracks. Many teachers are overwhelmed by the ADST curriculum with respect to digital literacy and citizenship. But the truth of the matter is, they don't have to be. There are a wealth of easy to access and easy to implement teaching resources with differentiated activities and lessons, such as Common Sense Education, Google's Internet Be Awesome, MediaSmart's Passport to the Internet, and Planet Nutshell's NetSafe, just to name a few. Now, with all that said, it is neither reasonable nor realistic to place the onus of teaching digital literacy and citizenship skills solely on the teachers. We're only with the students for 6 hours of the day, and most of their screen time and time online is occurring outside of school walls. Some responsibility has to lie in the parents as well. It is often said that it takes a village to raise a child. Well, the same can be said about raising our young students to become digitally literate and therefore ethical and responsible digital citizens. Now, with that in mind, how can we design a comprehensive program to teach digital literacy and citizenship skills to our students that involves administrators, teachers, and parents? While teachers need to stay up to date with the various social media sites that are popular with our students, parents should also be in the know on the matter. Educating their children about digital literacy can be a challenge for some parents who are not familiar with the internet or social media platforms. That is where we teachers come in. A critical starting point would be explaining to the parent community what it means to be digitally literate and a good digital citizen by defining digital literacy and citizenship. There are countless definitions for both of these terms, so perhaps synthesizing these definitions into more simplified, overarching definitions is necessary. Regardless, the BC Ministry defines digital literacy as the interest, attitude, and ability of individuals to appropriately use digital technology and communication tools to access, manage, integrate, analyze, and evaluate information, construct new knowledge, and create and communicate with others. You see what I mean? That's a mouthful, but in some way, if we could take that and other definitions and synthesize them so it's easy for all people of all walks of life within a school community to understand, that would make sense. Now, on the other hand, with respect to digital citizenship, Common Sense Education Media defines it as a way of thinking online, being online, acting online. It's thinking critically and not trusting everything you see. It's being safe with your information and who you connect with. It's acting responsibly in how you communicate and behave. Now that makes a little bit more sense. From there, we can educate parents through newsletters, info sessions, and meetings, and email to bring an awareness to the parent community about what their children are doing online or could be doing online. Not only would we be doing our due diligence as teachers, we would also be keeping preoccupied parents informed because, let's face it, if most kids come home and tell their parents that they did nothing at school today, what's the likelihood that these same kids are going to tell their parents exactly what they're doing online? For all of this to happen, however, there needs to be initial support from both district principals and superintendents, as well as school administrators. Just like teachers and parents, they also need to be aware of the importance of teaching digital literacy and citizenship skills to our students at an early age. A school administrator who understands this also has the power to allocate proper money and time, because this does take a long time to develop, towards a program of this magnitude. They could also form a committee of teachers, parents, and even students to address this issue, making it a school-wide goal. School-wide goal. The school's teacher librarian could be appointed the facilitator and leader of this program, but the responsibility of teaching and learning digital literacy and citizenship skills would rest on the shoulders of all members of the school committee, whether they are administrators, teachers, parents, or even students. A comprehensive digital literacy and citizenship program with the teacher librarian as the leading facilitator and the whole school community involved would not only effectively educate our students to become digitally literate and thusly responsible digital citizens, it would also represent a microcosm of the library learning commons model at work. Thank you for listening.